The History of Sexuality is a 3-volume work by Michel Foucault that explores the history of human sexuality from ancient Greece to the contemporary era. The first volume, published in 1976, focuses on the ancient Greeks and their attitudes toward sexuality. The second volume, published in 1984, examines the rise of modern sexuality and how it has been constructed through various power structures. The third volume, which Foucault did not complete before his death, was published posthumously in 1984 and explores the relationship between power and sexuality in the Christian era. In the first volume, The Will to Knowledge, Foucault argues that the Greeks did not have a repressive attitude toward sexuality, but rather saw it as a form of knowledge and self-expression. He contends that the Greeks believed that sexual pleasure was not just a physical experience, but a way of achieving self-knowledge and spiritual enlightenment. The Greeks viewed sexuality as an art, and believed that it should be approached with creativity and imagination. Foucault also discusses the emergence of the medical profession during this period, and how doctors began to diagnose and treat sexual disorders. In the second volume, The Use of Pleasure, Foucault explores how the modern era has constructed and regulated sexuality through various institutions, including the family, education, and the state. He argues that the modern era has created a repressive hypothesis, which suggests that sexuality is a dangerous and destructive force that must be controlled and regulated. This hypothesis has led to the creation of institutions that seek to control sexuality, such as the prison, the asylum, and the school. Foucault contends that this regulation of sexuality is closely linked to the rise of capitalism, which has created a need for a disciplined and productive workforce. In the third volume, The Care of the Self, Foucault explores the relationship between power and sexuality in the Christian era. He argues that the Christian Church created a new form of power that was centered on the individual's relationship with God. This power was based on the idea of self-discipline and self-control, and was intended to regulate not only sexual behavior but all aspects of the individual's life. Foucault contends that this new form of power was not repressive, but rather encouraged individuals to care for themselves and cultivate their own morality. Overall, The History of Sexuality is a groundbreaking work that challenges traditional assumptions about sexuality and power. Foucault's analysis of the ways in which sexuality has been constructed and regulated throughout history continues to influence contemporary discussions about sexuality and power, and has had a profound impact on fields such as gender studies, queer theory, and cultural studies.